So let's dive into the base period and talking about how do we make up this base period. We'll take an athlete who has, quite a common working athlete, has 8 to 10 hours a week training. How do you think about the distribution of intensity, duration, and training session frequency? How should I slot those three different pieces into this puzzle?
Yeah, it starts out with a slight change taking place over time. Let's go way back. So now we're talking about, let's say we're talking about November and December, and the A race isn't until next August. That's the A priority race. So what we're going to do in this period is just and what has happened before these winter months is the athlete has taken some time off, which is very good. That's exactly what the athlete should do. You get not only a physical break, but a mental break from training. And as we start back into it, there are going to be a few weeks where the athlete is going to be doing general training, cross training. That would be a great way to start out. And we don't need a whole lot of it at this time. So the athletes may be doing 60% of what they're going to be doing at the peak of their season, but that's going to be very easy. And it's going to be things that are out of the ordinary for the athlete. Cyclists, maybe the athlete goes out for some skiing mountaineering, some doing some long, slow ski sessions during the winter months. Or it could be running. There could be lots of things the athlete takes up and decides to do. It depends on what you enjoy. That's really what it comes down to. When athletes ask me what should they do during the cross-training season, I ask them, what do you enjoy doing the most? Whatever that thing is, that's what we'll do. Because if I tell you to do something you don't enjoy, what's more than likely going to happen is you're going to miss a lot of workouts. You're going to bypass it because you don't like it. But if you say, man, I really enjoy running, well, let's start doing some running then. So we're going to start off doing that, but it's not going to be a lot of volume. It's not going to be every day. And we'll begin to mix in some cycling with that as we go along. And so by the time we get through this early preparation period and we start into base period, now the athlete is going to start doing things which are which are quite a bit more specific to the event, cycling. And so now we're going to start getting more time on the bike, and that's going to gradually increase over the course of the base period, which could last like 12 weeks. More would be better.
But just sorry to interrupt you, Joe, just to jump in on that one. When you say, we talk about the base period, so we have that preparation phase, the training to train phase where we're mixing in cross training. We get out of that and we're into the base or general preparation phase. If I have 10 hours a week, what's the allocation of that? Am I better off doing like 2 5-hour rides and having 5 rest days? Am I better off doing 2 hours for 5 days and having 2 days off? Or what's the perfect, assuming I've no commitments, what's the perfect distribution of 10 hours?
Yeah, there is. I don't think there really is a perfect that fits everybody, but there are ways of thinking about this. Let's say you do have 10 hours, and I'd like to see the athlete riding frequently. Now, what does frequently mean? I don't know. I got to talk to the athlete. What's your lifestyle like? What all you got going on in your life? Let's say the athlete has 5 days a week they can ride. I'd like to see them out there 5 days a week, and we're going to average 2 hours a day. But some of the rides will be shorter than 2 hours, and some will be longer than 2 hours. But we're going to build up to those longer rides. We're not going to start off doing 3-hour rides. We're going to start with 1.5 hours, and maybe the athlete is only doing something like 8 hours a week. And we're slowly going to bring that up to 10 hours by making some of the rides longer. But we're going to keep this consistency going to five rides per week. I think that's the starting place we want to always achieve. Is we want to always be having this idea that I need to be training frequently and regularly. If we do those, then the athlete is consistent, and consistency is what produces results. It's not how many hours you ride; it's how consistently you do those rides.
Like we've heard this and we've referenced it already, the idea of 80-20, 80% of your rides being easy, and I think easy is defined as left of LT1, which in Training Peaks terms is zone 1 and zone 2. So if we're saying 80% easy, a question I often get is, okay, if I'm time crunched, do I still do 80% of my stuff easy? If I can only do 6 hours a week, if I can only do 7 hours a week in that base period, am I still aiming to do 80% of that stuff easy?
Yes, you are. And at some point it becomes very difficult. At some point we're getting to the challenge where the athlete only has 1.5 hours. And for example, let's say we've moved to to the build period now, the specific preparation period. And so the athlete needs to be doing some hard workouts and some long, easy maintenance workouts. Then we've got to start getting real creative. So let's say the athlete now is going to be riding 4 days a week, easy, and 2 days a week hard. But they've only got like an hour and a half each time. That's not going to be too difficult. It's going to be 4 easy workouts, 2 hard workouts. But what if they've only got 4 workouts they can do a week? How do we do it then? Well, in that case, what I would have the athlete do is would probably do every one of those workouts would have at least an hour of low intensity, zone 1 and 2. But 2 of the workouts would finish the last half hour with high intensity, zones 3, 4, 5. That would be, so we're going to do 2 workouts a week where we start the workout in zones 1 and 2, but we finish the workouts in zones 3, 4, and 5. And the other workouts that week are all going to be in zones 1 and 2. So that's something that's going to happen a little bit later on. In the base period, I'm really not too concerned about all this stuff because all I'm really interested in is the athlete being on the bike frequently and regularly. If we can do that and we can build slowly, gradually build more time on the bike, then the athlete's going to reap the benefits of the base period.
What do you think about for somebody that's time crunched, the idea of supplementing his training? Say he or she only has 6 to 8 hours a week, but they have an ability to commute into work, or they have an ability to maybe even walk into work. Can we count this as zone 1?
We most certainly can. They most certainly can. The athlete should be doing anything they can to build fitness. Walking builds fitness. It's been shown to be very effective, quite honestly. The research done on walking shows that it improves aerobic capacity. It makes lots of physiological changes to the body that are beneficial. For example, the left ventricle of your heart, which is the kind of the key to aerobic capacity, becomes larger because of low intensity training. And the larger the left ventricle becomes, that means, and the more powerful it becomes, that means the more blood it can shoot to the muscles when it's time to really call on getting red blood cells to the muscle tissues. So it really can be a big help. Riding to work would be perfect. If I can just get the athlete to ride to work every day, ride home from work, that would be gigantic. That of course, it depends on what they've got available, how far they have to go, and what the traffic is like, and there's lots of other issues here. But in general, yes, riding the bike to work is a fantastic thing to be doing to supplement other training the athlete may be doing. So I can ride to work 5 days a week, and I can ride on Saturdays. I can do my workout on Saturday. Great, let's do that. That's going to really do a lot to build your fitness.
I had a coach in 2012. Actually, he coached me and the decathlon sprinter Sam Bennett at the same time. I was racing in France that year. And I was frustrated at the time because I didn't understand it. But in the winter period, he had me doing these building up to, but walks, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour walks at points. And I was losing my mind because I didn't really understand the benefit of them. And it's only been in years since, and more specifically on the podcast, where I've got a chance to chat with great coaches like yourself and physiologists, and they all nearly unanimously endorse the benefits of walking.
I agree. My wife and I do this a lot. Even in the summertime, we'll get up early and do a walk 3 miles or so and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Walk back and then go for a ride. It really does a great deal for your aerobic fitness. It really is quite beneficial. Most athletes, again, it's not hard enough for most athletes. They think it's not, therefore, if it's not hard, it means it's no good. That's not the case. It's accomplishing things that you can't accomplish with hard workouts. So it's quite beneficial. Yeah, I'd highly recommend that.
Yeah, I've seen data on the number one thing for determining an athlete's long-term outcome of them hitting their goals, it's consistency. And the number one thing which undermines consistency is intensity. When people do too much intensity, they break down either mentally or physically, and then they lose the consistency. So from that, you can surmise that the number one thing to stop people hitting their goals is intensity.
It's true. I agree with 100%. Let's think of it this way. Consistency is critical. It's very important. I would much rather have the athlete doing the wrong workouts consistently rather than the right workouts inconsistently.
Yeah.
So consistency is the key. I don't care whatever you do, let's make it consistent. Let's do it regularly and frequently. And
I think it's the cheat code for life.
Yes, it is. It's pretty much the way life is. It's because you need to be frequent and consistent with whatever you do in life. Training is no different. So, but that's the number one problem I run into with athletes is they say they didn't achieve their goal, and they trained really hard. And we start going back and digging into it. What I find out is they missed workouts every week, several workouts, and all they think they have to do is do like 2 or 3 really hard workouts, and therefore they ought to become Superman. It doesn't work like that. You're better off doing a lot of long, slow distance workouts than you are doing 2 or 3 very hard workouts if you really want to prepare for an event. So consistency is the key.
What do the Giro d'Italia, Stage Slayer, Mads Pedersen and half the professional peloton have in common? Well, they're all turning to NOMIO, the natural performance enhancer proven to reduce lactate buildup during intense efforts. In the 2025 Giro d'Italia, Pedersen's form was undeniable. The Danish star surged to 4 stage victories. This was a major leap in form from his previous season, and a key part of this preparation and performance was NOMIO. Developed by the same researchers who discovered the performance power of dietary nitrate. You know those beetroot shots that half the peloton were using? NOMIO is clinically proven to lower lactate levels, reduce oxidative stress, improve training adaptations, and deliver a noticeable boost from the very first time you take it. Riders are reporting bigger threshold power, fresher legs mid-race, and quicker recovery, all from a formula made with just 3 natural ingredients: broccoli sprouts, lemon, and sugar. Whether you're racing at the front or you're smashing local segments, NOMIO helps you get more out of every ride. Take it before key sessions or races for an immediate edge, or take your training to the next level and get more out of your hard work. Go to drinknomio.com, that's NOMIO, and check out this game-changing supplement. Details are in the episode show notes or description down below.